So we just pulled up to the last stop of our day, and it's a maintenance. And we're going to go ahead and show you here at Air Brothers Mechanical how we do our maintenances. I'm going to show you our step-by-step process on how we check both your inside and outside unit. If you have a split system or if a package unit, check your whole system. Maintenances on your AC here in Florida is very, and I cannot exclaim how very important maintenances are here in Florida when it comes to your AC equipment. These units run very long times throughout the day, between about 10 to 12 hours. It really just depends on how your temperature's set. And it's a very good idea to have everything checked right before summertime comes, so you avoid any unnecessary downtimes. So let's go ahead, let's get started, and we'll show you our step-by-step thorough process on how we do our maintenances. Let's go. All right, so we're starting here at our air handler. It's a Train air handler. We took our panels off already. And so what we do when we check these air handlers is we go through, we basically check your coil, the condition of the coil, your blower, the condition of the blower. We also flush out your drain lines as well, and we check your safety device. So the biggest thing that should always be done on a maintenance, and we consider this part of the inside, is flushing out this drain line. Why? In Florida, these drain lines back up a lot. Because the drain lines run, and it doesn't matter where, but because these drain lines also run underground, and it comes out right by the condenser, which we'll show you in a second, you have a lot of growth that grows into these drain lines. And as you will see, I'll show you right here, this is how the inside of your drain pipe looks. And you get a lot of stuff that grows on the inner tube of this pipe. And essentially what happens is it just starts building until you can't drain no more. And that's why your unit will stop working. This will float. This float will turn off because this water will float it right up there. Bam, turns off your unit. And that's how some units go with no cooling. But it's very important. And the reason why we flush our drain lines with water is because it's a thorough flush. It flushes from the minute, like it basically, you get a whole bunch of water just going right through and into your drain line and coming out. Another reason why here in Florida our drain lines clog up is when you flush these, when these drain lines go, they go under the ground, they go underground and out. And because we don't, one of the main reasons why we don't build basements here in Florida, same issue happens with our drains. So what happens is that growth, because your drain water, and this is 40 something degree water coming out into this drain pipe. All right, so we're going to go to the outside here. And what happens is you get buildup because this is 40 degree water. You got a environment underground that's very conducive to build growth, and you get stuff like this. You get growth just like that, and it comes out. This is where it drains out. You get growth just like that, and essentially with basements you get mold. Well, you get growth and stuff in here, and it's very common, especially in Florida. So it's very critical that these get flushed out and are maintained year-round. Flush out every time there's a maintenance, maintain year-round. Let's go ahead and check how our evaporator motor is doing, and it looks to be pretty clean. And along with our evaporator coil, which is in decent condition as well, there's this black stuff that you're seeing on it, and that black stuff essentially is a coating done by the manufacturer. It helps with the efficiency, helps with heat absorption, because when your air is blowing through, this is what creates your cold air, but this essentially is just absorbing the heat from the inside of your house. Because when the air blows through, your air blows through this coil, and any heat that is in this air, so if it's 78 degrees in your house, it's going to go through this coil and it's going to come out at about 58 degrees or possibly colder, depending really on what your temperature of the house is. So if it's 78, theoretically you're coming out at 58. And that's the function of the evaporator coil. And it's critical that these two components are clean, because if they're not clean and they're dirty blower reduces your airflow. And not only that, will damage your motor. And reduced airflow will cause this to start icing up, and then you get liquid forming, more liquid that forms and comes back into your goes back to your compressor. It goes through your suction line, goes to your compressor. Compressor doesn't like liquid, so the critical to keep this all clean. So we're gonna go ahead. We already know our coil is clean. We added some pan tablets here. There's one down over there, and we're gonna go ahead. We'll flush this drain line. It's very important that these drain lines get flushed. All right, so we got our wires taken apart here. we got our float switch tripped to off. We got to press those buttons in, and with that being said, when that float switch is engaged, so when the float is not turned off like it is there, it should be reading 0 volts, but when that float switch is off, it'll be reading about 28 volts. So I'm going to set this up and we'll show you how we do it. All right, so we'll push down the switches and we're going to check our float device. All right, so we're reading 28. That means that our float switch is successfully tripped out. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to flip this float switch back over, and then we will be reading 0 volts. So now we're checking here. Our leads are touched together. And there you go. Right now we are reading 0 volts. There you go. And it goes 2.4 because I'm one-handing that, but just so you see that everything is set back to normal. And these are safety device, because when the panel is taken off, this will effectively turn off our unit. So we'll get those wire nuts back together. We'll get this all plugged up back up, and then we'll go to the outside. So before we actually go to our condenser, I forgot, we got to flush this drain line out. All right, so go ahead and turn on our water here. So this will expand out and fill. So as you can see in there, it's all plugged up. What we'll do is we'll also pinch it real quick to get some purges in here. Boom. One more purge. Boom. Last purge. Boom. Okay. So now we go over here and flushing our drain line out with water. So we'll let that go for about a minute, and then it seems like not much is really coming out, so it means our drain line's in relatively good condition. So we'll move on. All right. So that's more evidence of your Zuigla buildup here, but we also sucked out the drain as well, because this has been a problemsome drain. So now that we got that all sucked out, we'll go ahead and prime this thing up, and then we'll take off this cover here and start cleaning the inside of this condenser. All right, now that we got the top off, what we do next here is we pull out all these leaves that are in the condenser. We'll pick them up, we'll throw them out, and we'll also flush out this coil here with water from the inside to the out. So let's go ahead, start taking these leaves out, and then we'll start washing this coil soon. All right, so we got most of those leaves out here. So last but not least, we'll start washing the coil. The rest of this dirt will wash out in all the drain holes. We had to climb in here to get all these things in. It was matted with leaves. I'm also noticing a little suspect something here. Factory defect. I'm not liking what this looks like, so put some bubbles on it and see what happens, because I'm getting a little bit of it feels like oil. But anyways, let's go ahead, get out of this thing and wash off the coil. Alright, so what we do is we wash this coil from outside in. The air is sucked through the outside and out comes into the inside, and then off this top right here and up into your air. So we always clean from the inside out, gets all that dirt dislodged, and that's all we do. Just wash it down, and we got a little bit of dirt still in here, so we can get our wet vac and get the rest of that stuff up out of the bottom here. So we just want to show you how we do it, and this is how we do it. And just like that, she's all washed off. So we'll go ahead, we're going to check our capacitor and contactor now. We'll brush all that off and suck it out with the vacuum tube, and then we'll see how everything's doing. We'll check our capacitor, our contactor, and our defrost board. So let's go ahead. All right, let's go ahead. Let's brush off this. So what we'll do is we'll vacuum out everything first, and then we'll brush it. We have our power disconnected. Our inside power is also killed. So we'll go ahead, start vacuuming things up. Vacuuming up all the cobwebs, anything that shouldn't be in here, like whatever this is. Get a piece of a pine needle. It's not got in here. Doesn't want to come out, so we have to get it brush. So we're just vacuuming up all the big stuff that we can get. And then we'll go turn it off, get our brush off, and then we'll start brushing things down. And brush off whatever dirt that we got in here. A vine, that's what we got in there. We'll brush it all off, clean out the inside, there we go. We have it all brushed down. So we'll go ahead, we will check our capacitor, and then we'll check our contactor. So let's go ahead and we'll start getting things apart real quick. Alright, so first things first is we check the contactor here and see how the contacts are doing. Well, they're doing not too bad. Let's get the light on there. They're looking not too bad. So we'll go ahead, we'll check our ohms on our capacitor, our contactor here. The old school way was to check ohms on your capacitors, but let's go ahead and get our leads onto our contactor real quick. We got to do this with 2 hands. All right, so we're checking the ohms on our contactor. Right around 15 ohms, which is good, as long as it stays within 10 to 20. And then next is our capacitor, so let's do that next. All right, so we have a 45/5 capacitor. We are currently checking our HRM, which is our orange wire, and we're reading 44 microfarads, which is within our 6% tolerance. So we'll go ahead, let's check our fan capacitance, and that is reading 5.1. So this capacitor is doing good. OEM capacitor too. So everything out here is looking good. Our defrost board looking pretty good. So everything in here is in pretty good shape, so we don't got to replace anything. This capacitor's probably got maybe another couple more years on it. These capacitors I noticed from Train are really good built capacitors. I'm actually very impressed because this is a 5-year-old unit, so our capacitor's still reading well and our contactor's still reading well, which is great news. So go ahead, we'll put everything back together and then we'll continue our maintenance. So we'll go ahead, because we found some oil here earlier, we're got our soapy bubbles on it and we're checking for any bubbles, and I'm not really getting any big bubbles. So we'll do it once over with our leak detector, make sure we're good to go, and then we can check our amp draws and our temp split. All right, so finally our system is running, so we're going to go ahead and we are going to check our amp draw. Let's go set our meter to amp, and we're going to check our compressor common, and then we're going to check our fan motor. So first we'll check our fan motor since that's more easily accessible. We are reading 0.6 amps, all right? And then we'll get ourselves to the compressor real quick. Let me just push that wire out. All right, we are reading 7.1 amps, 0.6 on our condenser fan motor. So what we do, our unit is running here, so we run around, we check our amperages. So we have a compressor is run load 14 and our fan motor is at 0.6, so we're within specs on a fan motor and within specs of our compressor, so we are pretty much good to go. Our amp draws are looking good and our system is running. We'll go ahead, we'll check the inside of the temperature split. We'll get this all back together. We'll let this run. You about to have to let about 5 minutes for these 410A equipment to run. Kind of let the pressure settle out, let your temperature split settle out. So let's go ahead and put all this back together and we'll move on to our temperature split and then we'll see how that's doing. All right, so we'll go ahead, check our temperature split. We are at 75 over 53. It is a good split by my eyes. I know this thermometer, that was my older one, that's right, never mind. So we got a 22-degree split, which is pretty decent. Our motor is variable, so it does go up and down. So that pretty much concludes our maintenance here. So everything on this unit is looking pretty well here. Everything is running. We're going to be packing ourselves up, getting ourselves out of here. For a 5-year-old unit, it is in very good condition. It's also draining out water, so we know we're dehumidifying and cooling. Alrighty, well that concludes our maintenance for today on this Train split system. So we showed you guys everything that we do here at Air Brothers when we do maintenance, from checking that inside unit to checking your outside unit, making sure everything is looking good, everything is clean, making sure all your parts and components that we can read and check and maintain to make sure that it's running properly, check those, make sure that we're good to go. As very important because now for the summertime your unit should be pretty much good to go, because a lot of these failures that we run across when we run service calls in the summertime are often things that could be easily prevented. Things like capacitors, burning up contactors, dirty blower motors, you get stuff that ices over, things that we can kind of get our eyes on to be able to fix so you have no downtime during the summertime. So with that being said, we hope you guys enjoyed, and we hope you enjoyed our step-by-step process of everything that we do when we do these maintenances. And until the next time, we'll see you guys around. Thank you for watching. Please make sure to like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram and on Facebook, and we'll see you in the next time.